Well, hello, folks. As you can see, I have Aristo with me today, and this is the video for June 15th, 2018, and it's entitled TFYS is a Good Start. Aristo, explain it.
Good to see you again, and good to see you guys, even though I can't really see you, but I know somebody's there. So before I begin, I'd like to say two things. First, Ron, you're absolutely sure that the video is recording right now, right?
It is recording. It says recording right up in the corner.
Okay. I see that. I've confused the colors, the green and the red. The second thing is, like many of you, I've kind of become, I don't know, not really into Facebook anymore as much as I was. Not really into finding new quote-unquote friends and communicating with everybody and his brother and sister, or her brother and sister. And that's fine, it's nothing personal against anybody. I don't, add friends to my friends list. I'm not blocking anybody because that kind of sounds harsh. My news feed is just a little too glutted with 50 million viewpoints that have nothing to do with where I'm coming from. And really, and 90% of them I don't really care about. And I disagree with so many that I would have to just start arguments with everybody. But I may agree with yours. You may be in the 10%. There are people that I talk to that I've known for several years. And, that's been a rapport that's been established when the internet was still not inundated with all of this insanity before the so-called brainwash or propaganda or media insanity just went to the point that everybody has changed. People have changed. There were always trolls, and you can tell the troll was here. You say, okay, that's a troll. Whether they're paid to be a troll or not or whatever, it didn't matter. You're a troll. Then on the other side, you had sincere people. Sometimes they'd get pissed off. Sometimes they'd get stressed. You could always make amends. Nowadays, I can almost not tell the difference, in many cases. People are just so fed up, so stressed, so into their own personal crusade, And as much as I am passionate about my beliefs, this personal crusade crap, everybody's, a lot of people bitch about the Christian fundamentalists and Muslim fundamentalists, but fundamentalism is rampant, and that's fine. I don't want to, get into that specific issue. I just, want to say that those of you who want to, and there's not like that many, one person just insists on speaking to me, and usually I would, and I still may, but don't be offended if it's not anytime soon. I just got too much to do, and too many contacts, and I'm really tired of saying the same old all the time.
I know I have to screen my friend requests now. I mean, I do not accept most friend requests. I used to accept them all. I didn't even check them.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. No. And some people say, well, look, you want to spread, you want to communicate. Well, you should listen to other people. Well, yes and no. I mean, the thing is, I used to listen all the time when I was learning, when I was in my learning phase. And although I'm still in the learning phase, I do have things to say. I do have convictions, and I've come to conclusions, as many other people have. But what I don't see as somebody who steps back and looks, and somebody who is constantly into self-observation, and I'm getting into the title right now, what I don't see is people really, really thinking for themselves or thinking from themselves. Maybe that's a better way to do it, because TFYS means think for yourself. Or perhaps it should mean think from yourself, from who you are, not from some program. Why did I get this? Well, I was listening to just Max Eigen, and I'm not a regular follower. On occasion I'll pass by something. And this was in an interview, and somebody wrote, oh, did you see the new cool information about this, that, or the other? Did you see this new thing, man? This will blow your mind and change your world. And Mr. Eigen was basically saying, why? All I'm promoting and saying and expressing is think for yourself. That's what I want to encourage. Not go out, and information cannot change your life. Only you can change your life. The way you think can change your life. You know, something may stimulate, inspire, whatever, but the attitude is not thinking for yourself, it's being manipulated. It's almost like, go to this cool site, get manipulated by this cool information, and it'll change your life. You know, no. These perspectives, yeah, there's so much manipulation going on that we got to be wary of everything. And again, anything I say can and maybe will be used against me as the same argument. So it doesn't matter. I mean, that's why I'm saying, think for yourself. As obvious as it sounds, it's being done less and less, according to my observation. How do I know? Well, all the crap out there, the people that used to be, it seemed to me, were open-minded. You know, but in the end, everybody is so insecure. The vibe I'm getting, the impression I'm getting, is a level of insecurity that fundamentalism seems to be, oh, what's my pet peeve? What do I need to fight for? Some people believe, okay, well, we need to start from supporting a specific race or a series of races. Some people believe we need to stop all religions. Some people believe we need to change our diets, and some people believe we need to stop eating altogether and just breathe. And
breatharians.
Yeah. And others somehow got it into their heads that the shape of the earth has anything to do with anything. However, that may be true because many assume that the shape of the earth being flat, for example, implies the earth is artificial. Or we live, or as another theory says, simulation theory, where there is no natural reality, it's all a simulation, which is just a scientist to me. Let me just rebut that, saying that, well, that's just a scientist saying this because reality is flexible and because consciousness can affect reality, that it can't be real. That the scientist objectivist, in my opinion, having known them and been trained as such myself, view of what is real is something that has absolute control over you, that you cannot change, and basically some unalterable fate. You can only manipulate it on its terms. If your consciousness is part of the reality, if the reality is actually flexible, if you can change it, you know, what they would call, what occultists say or mystics say, or even religionists say, of course, if you're the deity or whatever there, then it can't be real. And a lot of rationalists, so-called, say, well, that's insane. Or it's not insane if it's a computer simulation, like a computer simulation. That's absolutely convincing. So think about the reasoning here. This reasoning is that if reality is a lie, you know, how do we know we're not living a lie? How do we know if we're not going, you know, the death isn't around the corner? How do we know if it's all meaningless and there's no reason for it? Basically justifying a diminishing or a relaxation or a negation or a lack of respect for the will to live meaningfully. No, it doesn't matter. Even though it's a simulation, we can still live meaningfully. No, this is a promotion. What the argument comes up, because simulations are lies. Simulations are deceptions. That's our experience of simulation in this reality, you know, or pastimes or escapism. So if there's a simulation, there must be an underlying reality. If reality and simulation are one and the same, then why call it simulation? Simulation is something that is created by something outside of us. And so we are being controlled. All of these theories have a subtle implication. This is why I spit in their face. They take away our ability to be responsible. Then there's the other extreme, of course, another form of fundamentalism, which to me is also a lack of thinking for yourself, because the people who promote it promote not thinking for yourself by promoting it. Okay, what does that mean? That means basically this promotion that comes from conservative factions, basically, of values as opposed to feelings. Okay. They say that the modern liberal trend, and I don't take sides. I really am looking at the crap from one side, the crap from the other, and saying these sides have different faces of the same crap. And that crap is a refusal to actually balance everything else, because everything out, because when you think for yourself, you think in terms of what is meaningful, not what is an overwhelming truth that you have no choice about. It's what is meaningful for you. Wishful thinking is not some fanciful thing. I mean, the true wishful thinking, meaningful wishful thinking, it's an instinct in human beings to think purposefully, to think in terms of a meaningful but not contrived meaning. That's why knowing yourself is a corollary or an outcome or a second. Well, it's intimately connected with thinking for yourself, knowing yourself. You have to know who you are if you're going to think freely, if you are going to discern between thoughts that have been plugged into your head for whatever reason, and they can be. Just constant repetition will plug a thought in your head, and you may not know it. You may see the same meme over and over again. In the beginning, you'll ignore it. You may be irritated by it. Then you'll think about it, and eventually you'll adopt it. And it's not because it makes sense to you. It's because you've seen it so many times. It's because other people have affirmed it. It's because we all want to be part of a group. So the thing about...
I made this point in a recent video of mine, but I find myself frequently, I've noticed it lately, when I'm just in the quiet space and just sort of quiet meditation, I find myself humming hymns that I learned when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And it's subconscious. It's not like I'm bringing that up. It's from a subconscious part of me, and it's coming out in the form of a humming a song.
Exactly. Well, I came, when I went to college in the United States, I came, from Europe back in the, early 80s, where Europe was a little different than it is now. And one thing, even though I grew up in the United States in elementary school, one thing that made an impression on me as a young adult was the fact that people would sing commercial jingles, just jingles from commercials. And that this would be their music. I mean, they'd hum, this product and that product and the other product. It's like music is supposed to be an inspiring thing. You're supposed to sing to yourself or hum to yourself something that uplifts you, that enlightens you. You mean McDonald's jingles? That's what uplifts you, or some used car salesman jingle, or, Fast Eddie and the, insane whatever sales, autumn sales or whatever, And it was crazy to me, but then over time, it seemed almost normal. I even caught myself doing it a few times. And yeah, and people get resentful. What do you mean I'm not thinking for myself? Who are you to say I'm not thinking for? Well, that phrase, and I've said it many times, who are you, means that, so that means some kind of authorization or official capacity or, special insignia. You're worshiping basically an authority figure. Who are you? Has nothing to do with who are you, It has to do with what my experience has been, what your experience is, states of perception. Identity has nothing to do with it, And I don't care. People can argue all they want. You see, sometimes I get mad with myself because I try to keep things even keel. I don't like conflict. And some people take advantage of that. They may even be paid to take advantage of that, I used to see advertisements which I don't see anymore. On my in my email, I'd get, please contact so-and-so for an opportunity to make money from your home by reviewing, this written works or just a few hours a day dedication to some kind of this and that. And it was like, well, maybe this has been, a recruitment for this kind of thing. Who knows? Where people are recruited, they're given a script and they're saying, go to this website and just promote this idea. It's like a salesperson. In any case, yeah. But in any case, there is a concerted psyop. And now it's become so normalized that most people don't even see it, even when they talk about it. So everybody seems to have gone into, well, I need to promote something. I need to lift the flag up. I need a banner. Maybe my own banner is this anti-mind control shit. Because if you learn to think, not for yourself, okay, scrap that, from yourself. Think from yourself. If you can learn to think from a reference point of view, where you are the center of the universe, and that's what people do in fundamentalism. They just adopt other people's ideas that work against them. Fundamentalism is a selfish act, even though it seems selfless. It puts you in a righteous position, and you just go and push and push and push. You know, I'm advocating something anybody can adopt. It's so general, thinking from the position of yourself. It's just an attitude change. You don't have to pick up an ideal. You don't have to pick up a banner. You don't have to convince anybody else. I'm not even trying to convince you. I'm just being passionate that this attitude may help clarify your relationship to your own ideas. That's something that's very important, you know. And I think we take it for granted that thinking for yourself is a given, or thinking from yourself is a given. And it's not a given. There are so many psyops, so much mind control, so much media push against it, that us thinking that it's no big deal or it's natural or whatever is probably part of the brainwashing. So, you know, and the whole meme thing promoted. Now, there never used to be memes. Somebody designed this meme app, the ability, oh, it's to serve the people. Oh, is it to serve the people? Or is it some form of Orwellian, you know, diminishing of language capacity? Keep things in tweet form. Keep people from, and those people who do express in lengthy terms are insane. They're either on some drug or excuse me, not to generalize, but many, many people have a limited sense of grammar, syntax. Look, if English is not your first language, I respect that. I'm bilingual myself. I've been in countries where I couldn't speak the language and I tried to learn. It's a pain in the ass, you know. But that's not, I'm not speaking about them. I'm speaking for those whose language is English and they're relatively uneducated. If you use the internet, please, you know, try to look up some stuff of how to organize your ideas, how to speak, how to write, and how to not just push everything together. It's a form of respect for other people. But that's not the big problem. I don't really see that much anymore. And there are many people who are quite eloquent these days, who write long articles that are actually well written. It's just that there are so many different ideas, and that the ideas for me seem to be the same old, like bitching at your politician, like, oh yeah, writing to your congressman, like your congressman is going to, because that's what's being promoted, write to your congressman, you know, your congressman will listen to you, you are the voter. No, the congressman gets paid by somebody else to do what they do. And if they don't
they
do
pay
it,
somebody else to read their mail.
Exactly, yeah. So we know these things. In the end, you're going to have a generation of people, like there was one cool meme that said, again, I bitch at the memes, but there are exceptions, and that's the way of these things. You see, they wouldn't be convincing if there weren't valid exceptions, or exceptions that get one, you know, we see, oh, this is really cool. And then you got 99% of the rest of the crap that's just overkill. But the meme said something like this, you know, in the 50s, we were afraid of people spying on us and seeing what we're doing, and we were afraid, we were careful what we said over the phone, you know. But now we're afraid somebody's not going to be listening to what we're saying, you know. We're people with their cell phones, their smartphones, they want to constantly keep filming others and keep filming themselves and be exposed, and exposure is good. People have been trained to expose themselves, to not just, you know, be wary of what they're going to say, but to say everything and to show their best face. Because nowadays also there's a promotion, you know, if you want to monetize things and your ideas and your videos, everybody wants sincerity. But they get pissed off if they see the sincerity they don't like. They want the sincerity to be packaged like a Hollywood nice deal, and they want it to be sincere. So basically, they want better liars, in my opinion. You know, it's not, we're not lying good enough for them. Oh, I can pick up that you're not sincere. Oh, that person is so sincere. No, they're not. They're just a better psychopath. So you're saying that the people in the media or in YouTube or on the thing, they all need to be psychopaths of the utmost degree, because only a psychopath of the utmost degree can give us a nice packaged sincerity. like the kind we see on TV, like the kind we've grown up with, whatever your country you're from, a soap opera type thing. And people get angry at this kind of thing, you know, when they're called on the carpet about this kind of stuff. But look, how are you going to think from yourself? Because every thought we have has a motive behind it. That's how we are manipulated. We're not manipulated just by blind repetition. We're manipulated because our motivations are very, very well observed. Now, the thing that the psychopath cannot do is observe us from the inside. That's their big project. That is what they're trying to do. And they know that if they can't do it, they may as well kill us all off once they get the automated reality frame, you know, down or whatever. Because you cannot control somebody that you cannot monitor from the inside. Brain chips, what have you. From the outside, they may observe external motivations, but they may not know what the roots of those motivations are. They can't be sure, not unless they are willing to open themselves up into an empathic response to be able to fully, but they're afraid of that. They won't do that.
I don't know if some people are capable of empathy.
Not in the way, you see, empathy as a conscious act is one thing, but people, everybody has something they're avoiding, you know, and psychopaths are wired against it. Maybe some of them have lobotomized themselves in a way. I mean, brain connections can be, and there's an epigenetic effect. You know, chronic denial can affect physiology, I believe. There is something in the brain called neuroplasticity where you know, connections turn on and off, where the brain reroutes itself. So yeah, I mean, it may be in many cases, the extreme cases may be completely hardwired away. And why would you want to reverse it if they're, you know, the point is that there are issues that somebody would rather die, or essentially first they would rather destroy everything else and end themselves rather than face. And for them, I believe empathy is weakness. Empathy is death, because look what they do to empathic people. That's a projection, I believe. But, you know, let's get away from the psychoanalysis. Anything I say can and may be used against me. I speak from that premise. It's almost like we're all on trial, you know, because of course we judge each other. We evaluate each other. That's what exchange of ideas are all about. When I communicate an idea to you, you know, people, this is where, again, I took this idea about the conservatives I was going to mention, and then I got sidetracked. Essentially, this person from Toronto University, I think, a well-educated person, they have a lot of videos, some of them are quite reasonable in my opinion, says that, well, feelings don't matter. I may feel like I want to kill somebody, or I may feel, you know, that I want to eat junk food and get obese because my feelings, no. That's a messed up sense of self. That's a messed up metabolism. It's not a feeling. We're talking about healthy feelings, feelings based on self-knowledge, on self-exploration. That's when you do things like inner work. So you can hone your response dynamics and be able to respond. And it's not just being able to respond so you just change your attitude, and because the world is unchangeable unless we do a physical act, which is often amounts to a violent act where psychopaths are concerned. There must be something else. Ideas can change behavior, and they can change relationships, and the world is a very complex system in that sense. You can't simplify it, in my opinion, and still pretend to be objectively accurate about it. So instead, the conservative says values are what matters, and values are more important than life itself. They're more important than relationships. They're more important, of course, than wealth and prosperity and happiness and anything. Because values, you know, oh, well, how does a dictator then manipulate the crowd? Through values. How does religion manipulate the crowd? Through the 10 Commandments, which are a set of values. You know, these things, even though we feel our hearts tell us this is crap, our indoctrination or our reasoning, so-called, which is brainwashed, tells us this value. So let's put it one way with a stark example. Our value is to not molest children. So this is being used against us. First of all, we're being cowed by these pedophiles, and nobody can grab the pedophile, you know. And we found more on the one hand, it's being used and allowed to come to the surface, so we may be scared. And on the other hand, every time it comes to the surface, it's suppressed. So we know that, well, there's somebody out there who is above the law, who, you know, completely can molest children and get away with it. And this freaks us out.
And have been doing it for generations.
And have been doing it for generations. I mean, instead of avoiding it, now that they know nobody's going to come against them, you know, they just flaunt it. And then you have this other direction of the schools, the very school systems in America being manipulated with genderism. And then, oh, who says that children don't like to be molested? They do. Yeah, but when they were saying the same thing about women, you know, the feminists, if you say even the same thing about women, the feminists are going to come up and kill you. Oh, women may like it. You know, that's what some conservative cultures who don't favor women, that's what they do promote. So what we, you know, basically allow this crap with children. That's not a priority. We allow this, you know, and we actually debate about it. But if anybody says anything about an adult gender or genderism, then it's a heinous crime. These things are twistings of values, and values can be twisted. And what keeps our values from twisting is being true to your heart, your true heart. And if somebody says, well, my heart tells me to be an evil cannibal, well, then you don't have one, because a heart is interconnected with other hearts. And a bleeding heart, liberals used to be bleeding hearts, which means they used to have empathy. See how the psychopath turns this thing into a form of weakness. Emo, you know, no, your emotions are a form of perception. They're a form of energy in terms of motion, emotion. It's life moving inside of you, you know. And on the other hand, if they lack structure, if they lack support by your thoughts, if they lack reasoning, if they lack observation capacity of, okay, what does this mean? What did that do? What did the other do? You know, these things need to work together. You can't just polarize. See, this is when you think from yourself and you notice that I feel like crap when my thoughts are here and my emotions are here. Or I have to deny my emotions completely and just be reasonable, or embrace my emotions and fuck reason, you know, because it's too sticky, or it makes me do things I don't like. Well, yes, it makes you confront where somebody is, pardon my French, ass fucking you psychically. So if somebody is actually, even though someone might come up, well, what's wrong with that? This is great. We just use lube or whatever. No. Because violation is violation. Violence is when you are being manipulated through the pleasure-pain syndrome to do something you really don't want to do. And so thinking from yourself, just one day in all our videos, we used to talk about discernment. And people would ask, well, how do I cultivate discernment? Well, I use, you know, methodologies, esoteric methodologies, meditation, this and that, which seems to be different than the meditation everybody else is doing because they just blank their thoughts. Meditation to me is being at one with yourself. Thinking from yourself is a result of true meditation. Being centered, being self-centered. You are the center of the universe. It doesn't mean you're going to become an asshole. Again, that's a psychopath interpreting the situation, not a healthy person. Okay, and one last thing here. Thinking from yourself is something obvious when you confront everything that is against that. Basically, your discomfort zone. Not the pain body that you have to reject, but be in your discomfort zone. Why am I uncomfortable? Why am I uncomfortable when I hear somebody talking about the earth being flat? Because the implications are that dimensions always keep decreasing, just like they did in the Middle Ages, because the church promoted the earth was flat to keep people stuck in Europe, so they'd fall over the edge. Or the implications, as I said, are that we are being controlled in a fucking petri dish. That there is no such thing as freedom. Those are the implications, that every thought I have, somebody else is programming it. I'm already a nobody. So whose motive is it that we be nobodies? Somebody who really does not give a shit about us, and for whatever reason either wants to enslave us or do away with us. So be very careful of what you put into your head. You are what you eat, but you are also what you think. and what you feel. What is real is what is at your center. Okay, define it that way. So, and I'm saying, yeah, okay, it's not as easy, but thinking from yourself is a good start. That's all I can say about, solutions. Start from there and see where it takes you. It's an adventure. Adventures are not always pleasant. Okay, I've stepped over the timeline, I guess. So, no pun intended. Thank you very much for hearing me out again in this long-ass ramble, which may be a little more controversial than other ones, but what can you do? C'est la vie. Till next time, Ron.
Thank you, Aristo. Namaste.